Hello, fellow AP Macroeconomics students. My name is Jonathan Fan, a senior at San Marino High School who, like you, is studying and preparing for the AP Macro exam. This video is designed to review topic 2.7, the business cycle. What will we learn? We will be quickly going over the basic fundamentals of the business cycle, and then we will put those concepts to use and answer some questions that you will probably encounter on the actual AP exam. Firstly, if you have absolutely no idea what the business cycle is, then please go back and watch Jane Rayfield's video about the business cycle on AP Classroom. That video will explain the basic fundamentals of the business cycle and the different features of the graphs associated with the business cycle. Now for some basic review. The business cycle is the periodic growth and decline of a nation's economy. To represent this in a model, we mainly measure this growth and decline through the different forms of GDP in a summed output value. On the business cycle model, we have the overall output on the y-axis and the time periods on the x-axis. There's also two different output forms, the actual output and the potential output. The actual output is the status of the economy through the different economic phases, such as expansions, where the output increases to a peak, and recessions or contractions, where the output decreases to a trough. The potential output is the status when there is a full employment output in society. Now that we are refreshed on the basics of the business cycle and the model, let's look at an example that we would see on the AP exam. Take a look at this business cycle model. The problem asks what the most likely scenario that country Z is experiencing as it moves from point A to point B. Now let's look at the possible answers. Letter A, an increase in unemployment and an inward shift of its PPC. Letter B, rising output and a fall in cyclical unemployment. Letter C, falling unemployment and a movement from a point inside its PPC to a point closer to its PPC. Letter D, rising unemployment and a movement from a point on its PPC to a point inside its PPC. Or letter E, a negative output gap and an increase in the natural rate of unemployment. Take a minute to pause this video and try to select the right answer. Okay, now that you have your answer, let's try and go over each so we can get the right answer. Let's look at letter A. This would be incorrect. Although the move from point A to B will cause more unemployment, a small decrease in output will not shift the PPC inward. Moving on, letter B would also be incorrect. This is because rising outputs and decreasing cyclical unemployment occurs during expansionary phases, and the shift from A to B is a recessionary move. Letter C would also be incorrect. This is because this would only occur during expansionary phases. And again, the shift from point A to point B is a recessionary move. Letter D would be the correct answer. This is because the output decreases below full employment. There is a movement of the point that goes inside the PPC, and the unemployment will increase due to the decrease in the GDP. For completeness sake, letter E would also be incorrect. This is because the recessionary phase does cause a negative output gap, but we cannot assume that it would increase the natural rate of unemployment. We can only assume that it would increase the cyclical unemployment rate. Let's move on. Let's look at another problem. This question states, which of the following best defines the business cycle? Letter A, the steady and always increasing amount of real GDP in an economy. Letter B, changes in the GDP deflator. Letter C, changes in real GDP and the unemployment rate over time. Letter D, changes in the inflation rate over time. Or letter E, economic growth. Again, pause the video for a moment and see if you can get the right answer. Okay, now let's review the right answer. The correct answer for this question would be letter C. This is because the business cycle showcases different periods and statuses of the economy, whether it's like in an expansionary or recessionary phase, which influences the GDP. These changes in the GDP also lead to fluctuations in employment status in society, which therefore influences the unemployment rate over time. What should we take away? The three main points that we should take away from this is that the business cycle model depicts the changes in output over time. There are different phases and turning points in the model that represent different growths or declines, expansions or recessions in the economy, and the rate at which real output increases over time is part of the business cycle and the model. That's all for this video. I hope you all got a refresher on one of the more important topics in macroeconomics, and I wish you guys good luck studying for the exam. Thank you.